I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day you've given us. God, thank you for this time that's set aside to come and do business for the school district. God, I pray that you would be with us tonight as we meet. Help us to make decisions that are wise and responsible and guided are what's in the best interest of the kids. God, we do pray for our nation right now as we are currently in conflict overseas. God, I pray that you would protect our armed forces and that you would just comfort the families and all the things around that, God, and that your will and the outcome that you desire would come out of that. And God, I just pray for our teachers and administration and all the other ones that God work so hard at the schools each day. God, I pray that as we come towards the end of the school year, you would give them strength to make it through, and that they'll be able to get all the things that they need to get done, and God, that you would just give them a great time of rest this summer. And so, God, I just pray once again that you bless this meeting tonight, and we thank you for your son, Jesus. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. All right, we'll call this April 7th meeting of the Huntsville School Board to order.
Let's see. Paula, do we have any? You're over there. So
I'm going to be running up there a bunch tonight, so I'm going to stick close.
No public comment. So the best part of every meeting, our recognition. So I guess, Tammy, are you going to introduce our first?
Yeah, love to. We are excited to have last year's yearbook team from Huntsville Middle School, and they have won a showcase contest who placed third internationally from the middle school and Life Touches Showcase contest. So I'm going to let Mr. Taylor, who worked incredibly hard with those students, come in and recognize them and tell you a little bit more about the contest that they won. Yay.
Well, it's good to be here.
It's
good to be here. And it's always nice to be here to celebrate kiddos. With one thing about the yearbook program is it answers the question, what did we do today? All the kids, we always ask them, what did you do today? Well, these publications prove it. And what's nice is the team that did this last year it was a small team. We had 8 students in all. And they all got together. We knew that we wanted to aim high. We know that in the past we've been able to accomplish that, so I wanted to keep the ball rolling. And so they wanted to fly like an eagle, and we certainly were able to live that. And I'm so proud of the way they worked together as a team. They came together, they thought about the design, they thought about the coverage, they worked together to learn photography, how to be journalists, and how to basically put together a product that really does capture Huntsville. And for that, this is the award that they won. Awesome. They've got this, so we get to add this to our little trophy case. So I want to have them come on up. Yeah, we got some of the kids represented. This is Jagger Thompson. This is Case Pennington. This is Trinity McCoy. This is Josh Payne. And the rest of the team, they had some athletics they needed to attend to tonight. But this is half the team, so this is good. So I'm going to present this to you guys. And you guys, since you're at middle school, you get to put this in the trophy case tomorrow. Okay. So we give them a round of applause.
Can I also add in there that there are over 17,000 schools that Life Touch serves, which puts into perspective what a great honor this is and what a wonderful job that these students did. To receive third place internationally is awesome. Yay. And also to Mr. Taylor, who works tirelessly and does so many great things for our students every single day, and great job to you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Mr. Taylor.
Yeah.
I went back and asked Mr. Pennington, I said, are you here to win an award or something? He goes, no, sir, they just told me to be here. So I asked him, are we having expulsion here? But great job and great kids.
They are. They're super great. I'm glad that they were able to achieve this for our little town.
And I want to thank Mr. Taylor. I am privileged of working with him, teaching with him, and he's phenomenal. And every year he puts out a quality product. We never have to worry about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing me. It's a wonderful opportunity. It's a gift. Thank you.
Tammy, you get those back.
All right. Ms. Devon, you wanna come? Yep, I want this one. Karen, you wanna come up here with us? This is a wonderful time of the school board meetings, and we're excited to highlight Kieran Garrison here. And I'm gonna take a minute to just read some of the nomination statements that his teachers have said. Kieran is one of the kindest students I have ever taught. He is nice, without fail, to everyone around him. He can work with anyone in the room successfully. Kieran is so thoughtful, and he notices when something needs to be done. His class has to stack up their chairs every day, and I notice he often picks up the slack for others. Kieran is very aware of others' needs, and I find that to be an admirable quality, not to mention a rare quality in this age group. He is also a fantastic student. That was Ms. Lyman. Ms. Cannon said, Kieran is excellent in class. He has grown tremendously and has an outstanding attitude. He is always willing to help others and is an integral part of his section. This kid seems to never have a bad day and loves to communicate and share about his endeavors outside of school. Kieran is the type of student you wish you had 100 of. You want to read the others?
Ms. Prince said, well chosen nomination. He always enters my classroom with kind words asking how my day has been. He is willing to help others when needed. He always completes his work successfully, and other students seem to really like him. He is one that knows when to be social and when to wait, so he sets the example. He is a great kid, well liked by all, polite, and a hard worker. Mr. Williams said, Kieran is a great student. He pays attention, gets all of his work turned in on time, participates in class, helps others, and is very respectful. Good student, nice, respectful, and smart. Mr. Henry says, he is a great kid. He's always respectful. He helps whenever needed. He also follows instructions and is energetic about being involved. And to sum it all up, Ms. Bollinger said, Kieran always has a smile on his face. We appreciate it. Thank you,
Can you just get a picture right here real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Karen, you're raising a great kid. Good job over there.
Yes. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Congratulations.
So I didn't want the principals to think that I make them do something that I won't do, okay? So I get to fill in for Bruce, so Madeline, come on up. So you can hold this and model it, okay? So everybody can see it. So this is what they have to say about Madeline at St. Paul. She's the kind of student who makes a lasting impression on everyone she encounters. Not only does she excel in the classroom, but she also carries herself with a level of character and maturity that sets her apart. An excellent student and an even better young lady. Natalie consistently demonstrates what it means to strive for greatness in all areas of life. At St. Paul, Natalie is actively involved in a wide range of sports, clubs, and organizations. Whether she's competing, leading, or supporting her peers, she brings energy, dedication, and a positive attitude to everything she does. Her commitment to being involved reflects both her strong work ethic and her desire to make the most of every opportunity. What truly defines Natalie, however, is her heart. She's kind, thoughtful, and always willing to lend a helping hand to her classmates. She treats others with respect and compassion, creating a positive environment wherever she goes. Her actions consistently reflect the values we hold dear. Natalie Mays truly exemplifies the core values of family, excellence, and integrity. With her determination, character, and leadership, there's no doubt she has a bright and promising future ahead. Those are pretty good words. Okay, next up, we have the primary.
Yeah. Miss Megan, the other Miss Roach. All right, I have the pleasure of awarding our faculty member, our employee of the month to Miss Megan Roach. So I'm gonna read a few of the kind words her colleagues have said for her. Megan is a talented, smart, and caring friend. She goes above and beyond for our kids and the people she cares about. She always creates programs that bring out the talent of our kids. I am blessed to work with her and call her friend. An extremely hardworking teacher who works long hours to make sure students get the best learning. She does extra work by planning fun performances and special projects that make the classroom better and help students feel more confident. She is a strong team player, works well with other teachers, and gladly supports school activities. Megan gives so much of herself to our Watson primary students. Her hard work to prepare Christmas programs, spring programs, and kindergarten programs to enrich our students' experiences with movement and music is appreciated by her coworkers, parents, and students. We love you. Megan is always willing to help out, whether it's doing interventions with kids, helping with testing, or can be covering classrooms. She always has a great attitude and is willing to do what's needed for the greater good. Megan is the best music teacher. She brings out the best in the children. Her performances are always enjoyable and memorable for all. She has a servant's heart that often goes unnoticed. She pours so much time, love, and dedication into all she does. By day, she's the music teacher, but let's be honest, that title doesn't even begin to cover it. She's the director, choreographer, sound engineer, crowd control specialist, and full-time miracle worker behind the most adorable kindergarten programs known to mankind. She also does a first grade and second grade program as well. If there's a tiny human on stage wearing a fun costume, singing off key, it is because Megan Roach made sure everyone had a special part in our K2 better because of her. I kind of turned really red. Yes, I have.
Now, she looks so comfortable standing up there.
Yeah, an introvert became a music teacher. I don't know how. Thank you. Here you go.
Thank you, Megan.
Is it from your friends?
Miss Polly gets the.
Yes, so Miss Hawkins couldn't be here, so I get to do this. And so, Miss Lindsay Har, come on down. We are proud to recognize Mrs. Lindsay Harp as our Certified Employee of the Month. Mrs. Harp is an exceptional educator whose impact reaches far beyond her classroom and into the heart of our entire school community. Our colleagues consistently describe Lindsay as someone who is beautiful inside and out and who teaches with her whole heart. She approaches each day with kindness, respect, and a genuine love for her students. Her unwavering commitment to treating everyone with dignity and care has made her a trusted and valued member of our staff. As a fifth grade teacher, Lindsay demonstrates remarkable patience, creativity, and dedication. She not only delivers high-quality instruction, but also fosters an environment where students feel valued, supported, and inspired to learn. Her ability to build meaningful relationships is evident in the lasting connections she forms. Students often return years later to visit and share how much she meant to them. Lindsay is known for consistently going above and beyond. She is always willing to help colleagues, provide resources, and offer support whenever it is needed. Her peers describe her as a dependable teammate, a strong leader, and someone who contributes greatly to the positive culture of our school. She's also recognized for continuously seeking ways to improve student engagement, achievement, and growth. Beyond the classroom, Lindsay is a visible and active presence in the school community. She attends student events, encourages those around her, and helps create a welcoming, supportive environment for both students and staff. Her kindness, encouragement, and willingness to listen make her someone others naturally turn to for guidance and support. Parents and colleagues alike speak highly of Lindsay's impact. She sets high expectations for her students while motivating them to reach their goals, and she creates a classroom experience that students genuinely enjoy. Her passion for education and dedication to her students are evident in everything she does. Mrs. Harp exemplifies excellence in teaching, leadership, and service. We are truly blessed to have her as part of our HIS school family. Congratulations.
Great job. All right, Mike. High school.
Our educator of the month is Betty Jo Smith, one of our family consumer science teachers. I got to talk about you first. So, why family consumer science teacher? That's what we just call home ec, right? So, what students wouldn't love getting to go in and learn how to cook food and eat it. So it's a great place to be. She teaches them life skills every day, and one of the marks of a good teacher is what does not happen. And she uses sharps in there on a regular basis, and she keeps meticulous notes on where those are and how they're using them. Takes care of things. So we really appreciate that. And beyond that, she creates what I would call a family, a home environment. By getting them together, you know, there's something about when you get people together at a table that's a special time, and that just draws them in and gives them a safe place to go and to be every day. And Betty Jo just does that with grace and a calm demeanor, and we really appreciate that in her. Another reason that I'm really proud of Betty Jo Smith is when we were talking about the teacher of the month, we started talking about Hayden Phillips and what a great job he's doing. And he is. He's a young teacher, and he teaches Spanish. He has taken over our community service projects, and he also took a group of our special needs students to prom-tastic, and just a really, really special guy. Well, Betty Jo is his mentor, so that's got to be part of the reason that Hayden Phillips is developing and maturing so much as an educator. So we're very proud to have Betty Jo Smith as our teacher of the year.
Congratulations. Thanks. Okay, I think it's me again.
Are you filling in?
Yeah. Okay, now I'm Harry. Harry's running
The
those
transportation director.
transportation. He's running those late bus routes, so he'll come in at the end, but he didn't want them to have to wait. So first, we have two to recognize. First, we want to recognize Mr. David Williams. He is a route driver in Huntsville. And this was voted on by his peers, and they said, what's that?
He's a St. Paul route driver.
Yeah, St. Paul. Did I say Huntsville?
Yes.
I'm so sorry, St. Paul. I read it.
That's all right.
It says St. Paul right there.
Like, wait a minute, you drove a long ways with my kids.
Yeah, right. Okay, I've got bullet points, so I'll try to make complete sentences out of them. Okay, so Mr. Williams is rarely gone, and he always has a great attitude, and that's got to be pretty tough on those early mornings with all of those youngsters on that bus. He helps Mark at the shop whenever he is needed. He volunteers to drive additional routes when we have several drivers out to free up his route for a sub. And he takes field trips and ball games and all the extra trips that our students would not have the opportunity to do if someone didn't step up and say, I will take care of this. And so we want to say thank you so much, Mr. Williams, for what you do and for showing up for our kids every day.
I will say David has one of the cleanest buses I've ever seen. One of my first interactions with David was he was down there on the hood, standing cleaning his windshield down there. But he keeps it clean.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for making it back for us, David.
Yeah, I appreciate making, and then made the trip to come up here so we could say nice things about him. So, thank you so much.
Anytime, get a pat on the back.
And then Harry also wanted us to recognize Miss Nancy Reynolds, and I don't think Miss Nancy was able to be here, but I want to tell you what was said about her, okay? So again, this was voted on by the peers. She is rarely gone and also always has a great attitude. She runs athletic and CTE shuttles all day long. So she's taking those high school kids back and forth from the high school to the CTE building just all day. along with her regular route that she runs, morning and afternoon too. She's willing to help out whenever she can with extra work, like pep rally, shuttles, and sometimes those are, you know, a little excited and chaotic and crazy, but she always steps up and helps. And she helps shuttle other students in the morning for drivers who have to get to their classroom early because they're also teachers. So we want to recognize Miss Nancy and give her a hand and thank her for her hard work. That she gets this.
For all of our guests, believe me, you're not going to bother us at all if you want to leave now.
Go ahead.
Typically they do, that way you get out of here, unless you want to just stay for the business part.
We are doing everybody.
Thank you all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Stop. Where's it come running around? Yeah. And I'm about that age. So am I, so about the same. Yeah, so I don't have to go back over there.
Ready to move on? So up next is the consent agenda. I'll entertain any questions if anybody on the board has it.
Nope,
No questions?
I'll make a motion.
Can I get a motion?
I second it.
Yep.
All right,
There we go.
we got Natalie Stemberg.
Got a motion second?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions? Discussion? Did we vote? I'm sorry, I had my head
No, we
down.
haven't voted.
No, we
No,
haven't
we haven't
voted. All in favor? We're all in favor.
You can tell Vicky's not here.
I didn't pay attention.
She keeps us in line.
Whitney texted me this afternoon, she said, oh yeah, hey, don't forget, I'm not gonna be there tonight. I was like, texted a few days ago, okay.
Yeah, prepare a little bit.
So we're on to the superintendent's report, so this is always good news. And I don't know how much the board knows about, and I mean this, it takes a lot of work to get your accreditation. And if you're familiar with it, the state, the Department of Ed has a website for accreditation, and y'all know I'm real simple, okay? But it's got a pie on there, like a pie chart. And it's divided up into all these areas of accreditation, and you either got green pie pieces or red ones. And if you have red ones, that's not good. And so we spend a lot of time getting rid of our red pie pieces. So it's all green, and we get the letter saying we're officially by the Department of Ed an accredited school district. And so it takes a lot of work, believe me, from everybody. And Paula's really been on top of that, heading all that up. And listening to me say, why do we have a red pie piece? We need to get rid of that, so.
It was green
thank you,
yesterday.
Paula. So that's good news. And then the second one, I was just gonna mention this real quick, and it's kind of an honor for me. So the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, has contacted me about being on a regional board for developing workforce initiatives in about a 4-state area in the Southwest to broaden career tech things dealing with aviation. And I'll admit, it comes from my former place where, you know, I think y'all are familiar, we started an aviation mechanics program. But I did want to share this with you, and I don't want to give away all the great news, but Paul and I had a great meeting with Dr. Rick Messingale, who's the president of North Arkansas College, which is about to change its name to where they're under the University of Arkansas umbrella. Which means for our kids, if they pay North Ark's tuition and go to the U of A to continue their education, they pay the same tuition. Which you'll have to tell you, that is huge. But anyway, the meetings that we've started with him is, you know, and I told him our dreams of one, I want kids from St. Paul in Huntsville High School to walk across that stage with an associate's degree when they get their diploma. And so we've started the talks with that, but that links into CTE opportunities. And we're trying to reach out to Common to start some talks with them to say, what is it you need from a graduate of either one of our campuses to be employed here? Because a lot of kids want to stay home and work, And Paul looked online, there were quite a few job openings there. That and Butterball or any industry within the area where kids want to stay home, we want to help them out. And so that's kind of the beginning of the talks. President Massengale will be coming here pretty soon. He asked about coming tonight, but we really haven't formulated everything yet to give y'all all the good news about the things we're trying to produce for you. But I just wanted to mention that, okay? And so that is it for the superintendent's report. For the finance, are there any questions about it? Questions?
I have one,
Okay, Bobby.
and it does have to do with financial. Are you sure, what days, can you tell me that we're having our athletic banquet at St. Paul?
Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I
Okay.
can find out.
Okay, well, there's a financial question to it. I was approached, and several was disappointed last year's with the food service and such. And this year, they're told there is no money for the food. And they're needing $400, they told me. And is there any money available to help on something like that, or is that something us people at home just need to take care of?
Yeah, I'm sure we could figure out something, Bobby, So it's the athletic banquet?
It will be.
Food, okay. I'll start working on that.
I was about to say, I would talk to Bruce about that, cause I had talked to one of the people down there and that was kinda over it, and they had
Yeah.
said that they had gotten food covered, so I don't know who had talked to you about it.
Well, this was last night, and they
Okay.
said that Bruce said there was no money for it.
Okay, so maybe it's,
Yeah.
that, what I heard was prior to last night, so Bobby's would be most
This was
recent.
late last night.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll find out tomorrow. I'll let you know.
Thank you, sir.
No, you're welcome. Any others? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Approve our financials.
Can I get a motion to approve the financials?
I'll make a motion.
Bobby? Oh, all right, we'll take Bobby first,
I'll
Natalie
second
second. All in favor? All right.
Thank you. So action items, the first one up is the 2026-2027 district calendar. And some of them are here, so I wanted to thank them. Y'all, in my 34 years, when you start trying to develop a calendar, I've seen it done in many different ways, okay? And I've seen how you don't do it. You don't set it out on the table for everybody to put their suggestions on it. I'm not gonna tell you where that was done, anyway, and then I've seen it where it's been pretty much driven by the superintendent. makes the calendar. Anyway, two extremes that, in my mind, aren't really good, okay? But Matt came to me about this for next year and said, hey, what do you think about letting the personnel do it, the employee, the PPC? And I was like, they want to do that, you know? And he said, well, sure. And so I wanted to thank those that were here. Tracy, you back here somewhere? Oh, there. So they took it and ran with it, and I'll just tell you, in my personal view, I loved it. I had nothing wrong with it. I think they did a really great job, you know, because when it comes from them, you know, it's usually a pretty good idea. And so I wanted to thank them, and I guess, hopefully they'll help me, because Matt's not here, entertain any questions that you might have. Is that okay? Did I throw you on the list?
You're fine.
You're right, okay.
It's kind of been a tradition here forever
Has it?
that the PPC does the calendar, so they're very experienced in it, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't,
I learned something. I
And
didn't
just so,
remember from now on.
just so y'all know too, we do reach out to like all of the staff. Give us any suggestions or things you liked or didn't like or whatever, and we try to implement what we can.
and then they give you choices. They'll
Yes.
usually give, how many did you give them, 2 or 3
Well,
this year?
With the LEARNS Act, PPC makes the decisions now,
Oh, so they
so we're not to send them out.
voting on it.
Yeah, but we did make sure to go back to our campuses and ask questions and that kind of thing before any decisions were made, so.
I do want to mention one thing, and this is probably kind of embarrassing, and Jen's probably gonna laugh there in the back. Is there any way we can color coordinate a little bit more? Cause like those blues, I'm getting old and like I had a hard time, I'm being serious, of
Yeah,
seeing which blue is.
I asked
know-
Jay, I asked him the same thing because it, like the color is kind of, and before there's always like a little key that says the yellow is holiday or pink is holiday.
Well, they
Can we-
match the titles at the top.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to do.
I know.
If only we could do, okay, that's it.
And I know that's real picky, y'all, but I'm being dead serious by admitting, I'm like, which color of blue is that? Cause they look really similar. So sorry about being.
Those two,
No, you're
yeah,
fine.
they're basically the same stuff.
Yeah.
Everybody else is concerned.
And I do love the Monday parent-teacher conference idea, that is awesome.
It's new, so we'll see how it goes. But-
Well, that 11 to 7 or whatever the hours were, I think that accommodates
What day
Plus, I
everybody.
think that's gonna be good for everyone. Teachers are gonna be exhausted from the day and,
We figure working on a December lunch in there, if I think you can stagger
Yeah.
them or
That's
whatever,
balance.
so campuses are always.
Come in at 11 and this. It's good.
Well, I make a motion to accept next year's calendar as is.
I will second it.
All right, all in favor?
Thank you. And B, did he leave? Did Mr. Smith?
He did not have, yes.
Yeah, so I promise you, we weren't trying to set up anything whatsoever. By him getting the employee and then we go, anyway, there was no intention there whatsoever. But I think the board knows that the problem, and we talked about it in the past yearbooks, what was going on with that and our solution and what we started to initiate to fix those things. Well, I'm telling you, you can't find a better person than this guy. You know, we had a problem, we didn't have a yearbook, vague information about, you know, what was even done at that time. And I think Paula communicated with Mr. Taylor first and went and asked him his thoughts about it. And the guy totally stepped up, said, oh, of course I will do it, to help everybody out. And so,
While doing his regular yearbook.
yes.
He has more hours in a day than anybody else does.
Without y'all mentioning pay. He just jumped on it and did it. And so that's why I highly recommend that that the board would approve that stipend for him doing that for the district.
I make a motion that he is an amazing person.
All right, we've got a motion by Connie and a second by Bobby. All in favor?
And are we now every yearbook that should have been in has arrived at this point?
Well,
I think so, it's my camera.
that's a good mic question, so.
I mean, not
No,
this year's
you're
yet, but I mean, everything before this is
Everything in
now.
that's taken care of. Once we send a check for the last bill, they will deliver current yearbook, the one that should be, so we're almost there, 99.9%.
That's awesome.
That's really good.
We're working on this for 4 years.
That's just terrible.
Yes.
All right, so the next items are for informational purposes, so Tanya, not throwing you in the bus, did you want to talk about the
Sure.
transition stipends?
Stand up so I can see what okay. First of all, I want to talk about, this is for the special education transition program, and we refer to them as the WIN program. And so the WIN program, it's an acronym for Working for Independence. And then the WOLF is work-based learning opportunities leading to future employment, so it's much easier to say WOLF and WIN. So it's all work-based learning, and I put a sheet behind your packet there that shows the activities from that transition program this year. And I've commented on some of them before. So I just let you look at the things that class has accomplished. And one of the really neat things is that they were accepted into the Circles program, which is a research study working with our students, and they'll be participating in that. And we're currently already doing some things. We have 4 students that work at Harps. And so the whole point is I called their director in Little Rock, and we were just talking. They get grant money for participation, plus the students get paid above minimum wage, which is none of that is any cost to us. So it generates a nice grant every year for this program. And my question to her was, what are the stipulations for this grant? What can we spend it on? And she said, whatever improves your program. And I said, is that something we could, recognize the teacher? And she said, that's amazing. We highly recommend that you would give your teacher a stipend. So it would be after the fact. So we just got some of the money today, I believe. And this $1,500 is not even close to what it was generated. So if we give the stipend in the spring, then we already know how many students participated. So if that money's there, then the stipend would go to that coordinator. But it's not cost the district anything, and she puts hours and hours. Ms. Goodman does a very good job, so I'm excited about it.
Thank you, Tanya. And now Paula's gonna talk about our April 17th PD Day plan.
Yes, okay, first, can you believe it's April? I mean, where has the year gone, right? And so we're down to crunch time where we need all of the required PD finished up. And then teachers, not only do they work hard to plan all these great lessons and activities for their students, but then they have to upload evidence and artifacts of their great planning and their great work and showing that it is affecting student outcomes. And so we thought that it would be good to give them this day to complete all of that paperwork and get it uploaded and to finish any missing PD hours they're still needing by the end of the year. And it's all individual work. So we thought it would be good to give them a day that they could work from home and do all of this virtually. And so we just, we haven't announced that to them yet. We wanted to let you guys know about it first, but we wanted to make this a virtual PD day where they had time to do all of that to finish out the year.
Was it already scheduled as a PD day?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Our last one. And, it's kind of hard to do a lot of super meaningful professional development for the upcoming year when you're trying to wind down the year that you're in and you're going through testing. It's kind of in the middle of all the testing and all of that. And we thought, let's let teachers catch their breath a little bit, if that's okay. So that was our plan for that day, if you all are good with that.
All right, up next, and I'll say a few words before we get going on the FTE reports. And so, I mean, pretty much I think for our audience, if they're watching, so FTE means full-time equivalency. So what that is a position that you've hired for, making sure that they basically have a full schedule, that they're working, you know. And so it's pretty common in a lot of places that I've been at. And so I was a little surprised when I got here, and some people didn't know what I was talking about when I was saying that. But it's all about, y'all, strictly numbers for right now, okay? Looking at, and like we don't even have teacher names on here, it's just a teacher, how many kids they have, and how many they could have. And it's about being efficient. And I think it's pretty much black and white. You'll see some, and you know I'm always transparent, some alarming things, just by the numbers. Now, later on, you know, in future board meetings, we'll get more into programs, course offerings, those kind of things. But I just wanted to remind everybody, tonight is strictly about just numbers, okay? All right, and Ms. Roach, let's go first.
I'm gonna set this bar kind of low. I'm sure to just mess this up. I've never had to present it like this, so I hope I do it in the way that Mr. Chalk intended me to do. You know, Mr. Nichols kind of said, I have a little bit of an advantage because it's pretty cut and dry in the elementary. We have pre-K listed there. There are 3 full-size classrooms. Those are 20 and 1 of 10. So what you see in that column of class size right now are this year numbers. Those have fluctuated since the beginning of March when I first plugged those numbers in, but they're still right around in that ballpark. Our pre-K requires a 1-to-10 ratio, so our full-size classroom has a teacher and a para, and then our 4th classroom of 10 has just the para overseeing that class. Kindergarten, currently, we have 7 teachers, and you can see the numbers there. They are a little bit lower than what is typical at our district.
And so Jennifer, you don't mind me interrupting.
I'm so sorry.
So I wish now that I looked at it, I mean, you can see down there, so let's take kindergarten, for instance. You could take the max size and look down through there and add up, so that's what, 140 would be the max, and we've got 107. All right, now, I do want to remind you that a lot of times, this isn't about filling up every seat. You've got to, there's a fine line between where your needs are and doing what's best for kids, if that makes sense, you know. So what I want you to notice is, I'm not saying that, you know, 140 is the max and we've got to have 140 kindergartners in there. Because if y'all imagine that, having that room full of kindergartners, you see what I'm trying to get to? So, but you will notice though, the differences between when we go down through the grade levels, okay?
Right.
Sorry, Jennifer.
No, you're good, and of course, you never know. We do pre-registration coming up the 21st of this month. We'll not get a great number because we just have so many that trickle in. I do hear in the wind that this is kind of those COVID babies coming in, so we're anticipating a bit of a larger class, but Mr. Chalk said, don't talk about that.
In my experience, y'all, you never want to make predictions.
No.
Because there's no way you can predict, you know, until they get here, so.
We've had 6 one year and 9 the next in classes, and so it just fluctuates so much in our district, just depending on the babies. Okay, first grade. Currently we have 7 first grade teachers. You can see where they're sitting at right now. And then also in second grade, we have 7 second grade teachers, and that's where we're sitting. And then of course our required fine arts teachers, we have an art teacher, music teacher, a library media specialist, physical education, counselor, and speak on, I don't know, if I goober this up, I'm really sorry. So we do plan to absorb 2 of those positions, one in first grade. Obviously those numbers are low enough. Even with some that we know will be returning to the same grade level, we still feel confident that we can use 6 in that grade level and then 6 in second grade as well, and still have room for growth. So
was I supposed to say?
Oh, that's perfect.
And those were, nobody's not going to be coming back. Those were positions that we were able to absorb through teachers retiring or leaving the district.
And I hope the board doesn't mind, because you know I'm always transparent, okay? Because of, say, we lost from last year to this year, roughly 120 kids in enrollment, that's like $960,000, almost $1 million. You can't stay at the staffing level that you're at when you're losing that many kids. Or what you're gonna end up having to do is somewhere down the road, that's gonna catch up. And you're gonna end up having to RIF people, and if you've ever been in a district, there's nothing worse than having to RIF people. Reduction in force, because you don't have the kids or the money to continue as you are. So we're trying to be proactive, do what's best for our kids, and look at our numbers and make some decisions. And so it's a lot better just to not have to fill those positions when you can move numbers around or move teachers around and still have great class sizes that are not packed in, if that makes sense. But you gotta start doing it now. You can't wait and put it off down the road if that makes sense to everybody, okay? All right, so Ms. Nichols is up next.
Hope you can see those numbers.
I can zoom in more if you need.
Try to see those. There are some places where high school can do better in terms of numbers, but if you just look at this in terms of, well, this or that teacher has lower numbers, you have to factor in that we have to offer every course every year for a student to have all the courses they need to graduate. And if you think about one class of students, let's say 150 students, you have 150 students in a grade, I wonder how many of those 150 students have duplicate schedules. And I think you'd find that not very many of them at all would have duplicate schedules. So if you think about the total number of schedules that could be in 4 grade levels, there are a lot of unique schedules, which means that you have to create classes to make sure that students have a place to go to get that credit. So sometimes those numbers do look lower in some places. I realize we're losing numbers in the district. I'll tell you that the high school will get 50 additional students next year. We have 576 students, 9 through 12 this year. We'll have 625 next year, keeping the same group moving up. And so when you have a big class coming up like that, you have to create more 9th grade sections. And that spillover has to go somewhere. And if you look at science, just give you an example in science of what this looks like. And say you have 4 teachers. Teacher A, B, C, and D. Chemistry can be taught by teachers A, B, and C. AP Chem can only be taught by teachers A and B. Environmental science can be taught by all 4, A, B, C, and D. Physical science can be taught only by teachers A, B, and C. Biology can only be taught by A, C, and D. And anatomy can only be taught by B, C, and D. So just as an example, these science teachers all have different licensure areas. So when you see some science teachers that may have lower numbers than others, it's because of the limitations of what they can teach and the courses we have to offer. Now, all that said, we have some room to improve. And what we need to do is try to drive more students into our classes that are not for right now, business program. We need to drive more students into business and agri, and we're well aware of that. And we're gonna do better in the places where we're weak. What questions do you have about that?
Well, we're gonna scroll through. So just for the board's information, 30 is the max in a class, okay? And 150 is the max for that teacher for one day, okay? If that'll help you out. So see how you see teacher totals 134, 150 is the max, but per class, 30 is the max when you're looking down there. And if Bailey, you're the one, if you'll scroll slowly down that, and if anybody has any
Well-
questions, then.
But then, go back, Bailey, where it said 151, that teacher isn't over because the sports and stuff.
151 is because they have 56 soccer players.
Yeah, because that's under different requirements, so that doesn't, yeah. Can you go back to the English? So, let's see, English 443. That number just seems really low. Liz, did you ever only have 68 kids when you taught English, ever?
We had 150.
Yeah, I was at 150 when teaching science, I was like, and when I saw that earlier, I was like,
They all love me.
and I'm not saying that, you said that we had to offer every course every year, aren't there some courses you can alternate?
If you think about when we did the semester English classes, do you remember when we did that? And we had kids taking 4 semesters of English in 1 year. And that was this group of seniors. So a lot of this group of seniors
Not having to take
didn't
English.
have to take English their senior year.
Right, and if they take an AP and they take concurrent, well, then there's no senior English there. So that depletes it, and then when a senior gets to senior year, you only had to have 22 credits, 7 class periods for 4 years. You can have 28, so you're done. And if you have those credits, we have to keep seniors in 4 classes. So it's a struggle to do that too. So when you see those numbers, remember that it's affected by what they took.
Bailey, stop on academic reading. Is that course now?
Dyslexia.
I know what it is, but is it required to have a certified teacher, or can a certified teacher be over, because in the past we've always had.
It can be a para with a certified teacher overseeing the para, delivering the
With that
services.
few numbers, wouldn't it be in our better interest to maybe have a para there with somebody who is
Could be.
over that?
I'd just say, we're dealing with numbers today. My concern would be quality. Needs to be somebody licensed or non-licensed who does a great job with it.
Yeah, in the past, we've been very fortunate. We had someone who was very, very good at that. And so I think it just depends on, like you said, you wouldn't want to put anybody in there, but some people spend a lot of time, even as a para, learning that dyslexia program, and they did an excellent job, which would be.
I would say our person right now is very good. If you look at English and you see a teacher with 28 students, that's a special ed teacher teaching Comp 1 and 2. So.
And there is a limit on that.
Okay.
Oh, but back to my question, do you have to offer every course? Or can some courses, like in science, like if you don't have enough signing up, that they can, since they should plan as a freshman, and they knew like AP Bio was only gonna be offered even years, can you do that? So that when you're only having.
So if somebody needs that course and we only have 1 or 2 students, what we do is we allow them to take that in virtual Arkansas. So have that as a backup. And that's why when we have courses like that, we should not have to have 4 or 5 under one teacher. We should be able to put them in virtual Arkansas to do that. So that's something we gotta sort out. And that has to also be sorted out through attrition, unless, you want to go through a reduction in force, and I don't think we want to do that. So we want to wait. As teachers leave, we'll make adjustments accordingly.
Now, see, right there, that's what concerns me, this Algebra 1, which is every single kid has to take it. Now, I'm looking at these other classes, I'm sorry.
So what's your question, Connie?
I'm just shaking my head because I'm thinking every year, sometimes it's like, how can we fit one more in because you're at the max? But this person, our math scores are so terrible, and this person has 134 kids. And then we have so many of those teachers, we're not even getting to
And
the
that's
70s.
that's because that teacher cannot teach above Algebra 1. So we're limited right now. That teacher will eventually be able to teach other math courses. Right now, limited to Algebra 1.
What I'm thinking of, if we're trying to be efficient and help our kids and thinking about kids, make that class smaller and figure out how to, pick up another math teacher or something, so that class can be smaller and we can maybe improve those scores.
We could, and if that teacher was able to teach other courses, then we could manipulate that. Right now, we can't do that for this year.
See, I'm not thinking it as a benefit to make that teacher now, so that teacher could teach the classes that had less kids, like Algebra 2 or, pre-cal or something. I think it was great that that person has all those kids, but why would that teacher, who's teaching such an important class, have 134, and they have all these other teachers sitting at 68? I'm thinking, can't somewhere or another manipulate it so we get another algebra teacher?
If we took those students out of those Algebra 1 classes, then that teacher would have to have something to teach, because they wouldn't have a full day.
I think she's saying make those numbers smaller and have someone else pick up an algebra section.
Yes, I know exactly that's what you're saying, but if you do that, then you're gonna reduce the number of sections she has, even though if you take those out and give them to another teacher, it will affect the section numbers. It may affect that first period with 11 or that seventh period with 15. So it's not impossible, but we also have to look and see if we can combine those other sections, like geometry. Can we combine geometries and create another algebra? And that's possible.
Well, I still don't think you're seeing what I'm saying. I'm saying, get another math teacher so that class that our scores absolutely stink in, and it's the beginning of all the other math they have to take after that. If we can have teachers only teaching half that many kids a day, surely in all these other courses, maybe we need to look at those courses and start, figure out some way to hire another math teacher.
Okay, and we might be able to do it without even hiring another math teacher, so.
Because that's where our scores are in the tank there. And then that feeds everything after that. Okay, go back, Bailey, I'm sorry. Okay. So like anatomy and physiology, could that be offered even or odd years? Because that's not something somebody has to have to graduate, but they would want, and then be able to.
And that class started out with 22 students, and 10 students took that who it wasn't recommended for them to take it, didn't think they were ready, and they dropped out. So we ended up with 12 in that section, but yeah.
Oh, well, I'm not thinking 12 necessarily in kids that are really interested in anatomy and physiology, because they are gonna have to have that if they're going to any kind of medical field. I'm just saying, is it necessary, you could maybe have 24, because if you were offering it even or odds.
Right, makes sense, yes.
And then by doing that, you could offer that other year, offer something else that might be interesting to some kids. That could even be in the sciences.
Right, yes.
That many kids in Spanish, that's awesome. So on that 200 and some kids for digital learning, is that what Miss Stafford takes care of?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
Well, part of those have doubled, so she doesn't actually have 202 kids.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
keeping up with 202
Yeah,
different,
so-
Enrollments.
yeah, enrollments.
She has 202 enrollments. We have a lot of kids who, I can't remember off the top of my head how many kids we have enrolled in concurrent credit through North Ark right now, but it's a lot. And we should have associate's degrees next year.
Did you buy her a hot shot?
She doesn't need
You
it.
don't need one.
She doesn't.
She is one.
Go back to band. Do we still have sixth grade band? Or we don't have sixth grade band anymore?
We have a section of sixth graders that take band instead of like regular music.
Oh, okay.
But
So they have a choice to join band in sixth grade?
well, it didn't turn out that they had a choice this year. We were going to make it all like a music class, and then she asked permission to take hers music class and do more band stuff with it. We're kind of looking at that for next year,
Because we
on
used
how we
to
want to
have
do that.
a huge band that was
We're trying to feed
very
that
well
program.
recognized. We used to have marching contests held here. But we always had a sixth grade band. And I think that's probably why some of our numbers are way lower. Do you guys have band? Do you just have music?
No, it's just music.
No instrumental?
Yeah, they
Guitar.
got
Yeah,
their
guitar,
instruments,
yeah, okay.
What else?
Last spring, we voted to, okay, or I guess approved or whatever, and then to relook at the East program. Is this the time to talk about
Oh,
that?
man, we're just,
Okay.
remember, we're just
Just
sticking
looking
with
at this,
numbers.
okay,
Connie, we're gonna come back and look at programs and
okay.
the numbers of kids we have in each and
Okay.
make those decisions later on. So,
Okay.
Any more questions for Mr. Nichols? And I hope the board appreciates this, because it's time to look at it. And we're gonna do every campus also. Bruce and Kayla will do theirs next month, because I want them to be here. So, when it comes down to that scheduling portion of it, the principal's gotta be the instructional leader and make those decisions. Of course, we'll help them make them, but, when you've never done it before and you see it, it's black and white, So, next we got Tammy gets to go.
Thank you, Connie, I appreciate it.
I'll probably just sit right here. Actually, not that yet, Bailey. I think we're doing the FTE. That's okay.
I think she was before the high school tabs. There we go.
So ours looks just a little bit different, but you can see the column with max seats and then how many seats were used there. So for all of sixth grade classes, there's a max of 28 per class, except for things like PE and maybe music and but all of our core and most on-core, except for those two, are 28. 7th and 8th grade have a maximum of 30 per class that they could fill. Our campus is a little bit unusual in that we do block and a half periods for math and ELA, which sometimes makes, they have to kind of be together when they have math and ELA. So then that's why maybe some of the science classes and social studies classes may have fuller classes one part and less another, because of the the 3 periods for math and ELA that have to be blocked together.
I'm just gonna freeze this over, scroll down with this.
So for our science classes, for example, I mean, 8th grade, we're getting around 20 to 25 per class. And then it also does become tricky a little bit what they were talking about earlier too, because a teacher cannot have more than 150. So if they had 6 sections of 29, that's over the 150. So it can't be exactly 28 to 30 per class because it doesn't work that way either.
In 8th grade, how many honors are you offering? In 7th grade, you're just offering 1 honors in each?
Yes.
Have you thought about, we used to offer 2, and therefore that fed the high school advanced science programs. Because, we already know the numbers are gonna go down as you move up. So if you start off with a bigger pool, and a lot of those kids that, some of them, like, might not usually, you think go there, but, if somebody sees something in them, whatever, you can put them there, and then a lot of times that feeds it into high school. But when you only start off with 28, it's hard to have a very big AP class
Yeah, that makes sense.
by the time. So if we went back to maybe 2 honors.
And I'm grateful for Teresa Rutledge. She does, all the vetting things for that, but
A 5-step vetting process.
and I don't know what all it is, but we can definitely look into that.
And with AP courses, it's always been that it's the student desire too. And you don't try to weed them out if they
Right.
want to go.
Right.
So, but that would definitely help the high school
Yeah.
honors courses.
Sure.
And that's why we always had to.
And I apologize to the board, next year when we redo this, we'll have the total max and the total that they have, so, you get a kind of an idea of the max and how many they got, but we don't, once we put, we'll put those on there so they're a lot easier to read, so that 150 is the max. I mean, I don't expect y'all to remember all the rules, about all of it, so.
And so then to that tune, like our ELA and math teachers, even though technically yes, 150 would be their max, with the 1.5 block, it reduces them to 4 sections a day because they're teaching 1.5 section or 1.5 class periods.
And
per
you will
section.
keep that next year, won't you?
That's our plan. Yes.
Some of those totals you can see in the credit column right there. I don't know why it didn't transfer when we made the initial copy, but
How many kids in your East program total, do you know right now?
It's part of our sixth grade wheel right now, and so we have a lot of sixth graders who, well, all of our sixth graders are being exposed to East for one semester each year, and then we have one section of 7th and 8th grade East. So past 6th grade, this is our first year test driving it in 6th grade. So right now, past 6th grade, we have just one class full of 7th grade East. We did have it first semester, some finagling there, but to have enough sections for all of our 6th graders.
So does that mean those 7th graders had to get out of it so you could put 6th graders in it?
No, we offered a year-long East and we offered a semester-long
And they
East.
picked.
And they could choose year-long or
Okay,
semester. I think that's it with our totals. Do you have any questions for us? Okay.
Okay, thank you all, and just as a reminder to the board, 80% of our budget for the whole district is salaries and benefits. And so you can see how, if you're overstaffed, how that affects your budget. When, to me, there's always better ways that we can help kids with that money if we're efficient in our staffing. So that's why I appreciate them doing that, showing y'all, because it's pretty black and white, as I said, and you'll see that we're gonna have to make some decisions coming up, But we are gonna go through every campus, and I do, you know how I'm always transparent, and I do wanna give some kudos. Ms. Roach, when we sat down, because we sat down with each principal individually, Jennifer was the one that saw it, said, Jay, there's 2 positions I don't need to fill. Just to be efficient, and we're not maxing out classes, it's just that the numbers aren't there, And also Tammy, which I know from, because I heard Jen read an email from her morning notes about coming up with better ideas to be more efficient. Say a teacher doesn't have very many kids, if they can combine sections, then Tammy had asked them, and I don't mean to talk for her, is there something else that you're certified to teach? Or would you be willing to do tier 2 intervention where we're working more one-on-one with those kids that really need it to get caught back up? Those ideas, and Tammy did a great job of sharing that, and let's hear it from the staff, what they think. Where could we be more efficient and how could we use them better? And so I appreciate them for doing that. That's being very good of them.
I like that intervention idea because that's required now, and if somebody could Well, even if it's an intervention, do they have to be certified in that, what they're doing the intervention in?
I don't know.
That's a great question.
Because I know,
That's a great question.
yeah, and because then that way, that would take something extra off of the other teacher's plate, and that would give that person just time to focus on that. I did have one question I forgot. How will the loss of the big 8th grade class affect your campus? Is 6th grade big also coming up?
Actually, they're smaller. I think there's 116 or 18. So
they're tiny.
it is a smaller
you're
class.
Yeah, we'll have a net loss of about 50. I was gonna gain 50, we're gonna lose about 50.
Those were our COVID red shirt, like the ones that did red shirt, when COVID hit. So that was our class of 6 that we had in kindergarten that year.
Yeah, Connie, when Kayla goes, you'll see, there's one huge class.
Yeah, the next one right behind us. Yeah, we'll go from a 118 to like a 180.
It's 130 or no, is it 180?
It's like
something
180
that. I don't know.
At one point, they were over 200, yeah, so
It'll-
the red shirt's coming in.
This conversation will look very different next year. It's great.
So like with that will be, believe it or not, a lot easier because we'll just, teachers will kind of, I don't want to say go with that
Fill the
class,
gaps.
but we can move them around because the next class is so much smaller. You see what I mean? To help fill in for that big class. So that's a pretty easy solution there. So, but is everybody good with those numbers?
Is your dyslexia person a certified teacher?
We have a certified teacher and then a para that helps as well.
Because her numbers are over on the ratio.
Yes.
We good?
And I don't know, one more question.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Has the high school, are we talking about maybe raising graduation requirements that would have kids take more classes? And fill up some of those spots and not be running out the door at Christmas? Have we
You're asking
discussed
me?
it all?
What I'd like to do is wait when we start talking about programs and classes,
Okay.
that be a thing that we talk about.
Yeah,
You
I
know what
just
mean?
was wondering.
Because that's a huge situation that we really need to put a lot of thought into and talk about, so.
Okay.
You ready for the academic report?
Yes, we're ready. It is always exciting to me to get to share some of the exciting things that are happening at the middle school. So we are excited about getting to share this with you. Okay, Bailey. Our big focus this year, we've been trying to get everybody in the same direction on focusing in on the PLC process. PLC is very dear to my heart because that's what I've had a lot of training in, and I think sometimes the meaning can get lost if you're doing PLC light instead of PLC right. And so we're really trying to make sure that we're doing it right this year and continuing to build on that and just continuing to grow and as learners ourselves. So, okay. The 3 big ideas of a PLC are that we focus on learning, and that can be a shift in mindset because lots of us, and I'm throwing myself in that too, tend to focus on teaching. Like, did I teach the material? Did I get all the curriculum taught? And we're trying to really shift that focus to our students learning the material. And it is a big mindset shift. And so that's one of the big ideas. Another one is collaboration, that we are doing this together. The fact is we're just better together. And at HMS, we really value teams and doing things together. We hear great ideas from other people and everybody works together a lot. And that we're results driven. We're really trying to make sure we're looking at the results to make decisions instructionally. Okay.
So, to sort of emphasize those 3 pieces again, for us, focus on learning is not, again, like what Tammy just said about what we taught, but really what have our students learned. Did they learn it? And so we know that based off of the tracking of the CFA data that we're doing very regularly, and tracking that mastery in real time, so that we can respond in real time to student needs. And that response comes through our RTI groups that are selected and pulled from those groups of students based off of current CFA data. collaboration for us is that culture. It started at the very beginning of this year, and our content teams and interdisciplinary teams meet regularly because we talk about the kids at multiple levels of support, and we want to talk about the academics, but we also need to talk about that whole child piece that's really important as well. And then our Encore teachers meet as a PLC quarterly to come together to focus on their work and their contributions as well. And then results oriented, we we track team created CFA data alongside the standardized data now. And that's that's looking, your 10,000 foot view, but also your 10-foot view, and really saying, here's our big picture and these are our kids that are coming to us. But as we look at those big numbers that we only interim test our kids a couple of times a year, alongside the CFA data, and are those things jiving with one another? Where are the gaps, and what can we use, what can we glean from that data to help kind of drive what we do next?
We can intervene a lot quicker with CFA internal data that we're using, as opposed to wait until we have like Atlas interim data, which is very valuable, but we have to be able to intervene sooner than that. So we've really had a hyper focus this year on question number 1 of the PLC process, which is what will students learn? We got together on July and we started really going through the process about which standards we wanted to make priority, and teachers went through and looked at what were already priority and like, do we still want to keep those as priority? Do we want to change those? Then we got in vertical teams that same day and made sure that our vertical standards are what we think they want to be. This question, like, when you think about it, like, what will students learn? It seems like such an easy question. Well, it's just the standard, but there's so much more to question number 1 that we've really focused on that a lot this year. You have your standard, but then you also have to unpack the standard and what all are all the things that the students have to learn to be able to meet that standard. And so it's creating learning targets inside of that. It's looking at proficiency levels inside of that. And so there's a whole lot to it. And this one big question that seems so small is really a huge question. And our teachers have worked so hard this year on question number 1 and making sure that we are insanely clear on what it is that we want students to learn. Also, our Encore teachers and our elective teachers have also chosen a priority standard that's one of the literacy standards, because there are disciplinary literacy standards from the state, and they're making that one of their priority standards too. And I'm going to do a quick shout out, like Tracy Prince, she is teaching that literacy standard in her social studies class with fidelity, and lots of celebrations in her class, and she's trying to make sure that the assessments look like the Atlas assessment, and really, like, our teachers, it's an amazing campus, and they have all just committed to this, and so we're working really hard at that.
So one of the most valuable pieces that started way back in July, and when we talk about last summer, and the 3 days that we spent together last year, was sort of the birth of this enormous document, this tiny little spreadsheet that links to a bunch of enormous documents. And it really is just a very visible way for anybody to see everybody's everything. We want our teachers to be able to go in and see what's happening in other classrooms. We want them to latch on to things that they can latch on to where they can, to support learning with one another. And so this is our data dashboard. It houses everything that our teachers use, PLC-wise, interdisciplinary team-wise, everything is on this. I'm sure it's bookmarked on it's probably just always open on everybody's computer, because it's that valuable of something for us. All of our multi-tiered systems of support, so our behavior data, everything is linked right here together for our teachers to capture quickly.
Bailey, can you scroll down just a little bit?
Yep.
And so some of the things in here is that teachers have worked so hard on, and are building unit plans this year. We're working really hard on the unit plans. What is it we want students to learn? What are the priority standards? What are the supporting standards? What are misconceptions that might happen within that unit? What are our assessments look like? What do the proficiencies look like from Atlas? Like, there's a whole lot to those unit plans. Then you'll see on the right side, we've also worked to create pacing guides, and we are creating SMART goals before a unit is taught, and then we're tracking after the unit. Did we meet our SMART goal? And this is really a baseline year. It helps us for next year be able to identify, okay, well, we had a goal of 65 and we got 63. So next year we're gonna try to get it a little bit higher and things to start. So, and then you can scroll down just a little bit more. And then we're also trying to make it learning visible for our students too. This is so important. Like research shows that if students know what the target is and they know what they're trying to get to, that they're gonna perform better, they're going to achieve higher. And so you can see on that bottom picture, we've started using these thermometers, a thermometer type rectangle, and as the class becomes more proficient, they start filling in the rectangle. So kids, you can see this, Lila is standing there and she's pointing to what assessment they just got proficient on that particular standard. So we're trying to make it visible for all of us plus the students too. It's very important for that, so. Okay.
So part of that, in that picture with Lila, we were in there celebrating that class because as classes reach a certain level of proficiency, the goal set by the teacher in the classroom, then the teachers notify us like, hey, my kids have, met a proficiency goal, come in and celebrate. And so we gather anybody who's available to go in and celebrate loudly. We blast music, toss them some candy, celebrate them, give them high fives, ask kids like, why are we here? Make sure, reinforce that they know that we're there to just be happy with them about this accomplishment. And so I cannot tell you how many of these we have now done, countless of them. And one of the other things that we do with that is a quick announcement to the school, like, hey, I'm here in Ms. Prince's class, and this class has just reached proficiency, and we just do a school-wide shout out super quick for them. And it's been a I think the kids are latching on and they see us walking down the halls and they're watching to see what room you're going into, where are you gonna go celebrate next. It's been fun to do.
Mm-hmm. And those are some examples of some of the classes that we've gotten to celebrate. Yeah. We always tend to celebrate a lot of the elective classes like band and choir. They have their nights of performance and athletes, and we get to go watch them at the games and win touchdowns. But all these teachers and students are working so hard for academic progress as well. We really wanted to start making that a strong piece in our culture at school too. So, okay, so this is kind of a snapshot of where we are based upon our interim 2 results. We tried to highlight in a red box. So the whole very first piece is our current 6th grade class. And so what you're looking at is for each subject, this is where they are after interim 2, and then this is where they were in the spring of their previous year. So it's cohorts of students that are moving. So for instance, the 6th grade class currently for ELA, in the spring of last year as 5th graders, they were at 25% were passing, proficient or exceeding. And after interim 2, we are currently at 22% that are proficient or passing. And so we're hoping to get that on up to at least 25, if not higher, by the end. By the summative. Math for 6th grade.
And I'll point out that's based on like what they should know for the whole year.
Correct.
That was February.
Correct.
February testing.
That should,
Yes, and they are new standards and they're different standards than they were last year, but this is cohorts of kids moving up. So you can see that for math, we're still at about 19% that were proficient or exceeding. And then for science, notice that they're at 34% proficient or passing, and in that same group of kids were at 29% at the end of last year. So they have already in February exceeded the proficiency, how many of those students are proficient in science for this year. So then you look at our current 7th graders, again, 23% for ELA are passing or above as of the interim 2, which was in February, I think we said. Last spring, 24% were, so we're very close to that one. In math, 29, is that what it says? 29 and 24, so
already exceeded
the amount of those students who were passing in the spring. Also look at science again. This particular group of kids, 34% of them were passing or exceeding in the spring, and right now we're currently at 43%. So this is really promising and exciting. You can see our current 8th graders, 23% after interim 2, 26% in the spring, for ELA. For math, there's a little bit more of a difference there for math, 23% after interim 2. And then for science, again, we're at 34%, and that particular group of kids were at 30% in the spring. So it's really a big celebration for us that science, all 3 grade levels, those students have surpassed their percentage of passing in the spring. And then you can see our Algebra 1 in the spring of last year. This is a different group of kids. This is the only one that's not the same cohort of kids. But in the spring of last year, we had 60% passing or above. And after interim 2, we have 67% passing or above. So yeah, there's some things we're excited about. Any questions about any of that? Okay. Sarah.
So beyond academics, we want to support our kids, like I mentioned earlier, in lots of different ways. We have our Eagle Brags, which, has started a couple of years ago, and we've beefed up that, and teachers are giving out Eagle Brags every week. We have weekly drawings for Eagle Brags, things like wireless mice and mice. And tracking that other tier of student support, and processing or working through behavior interventions with our counselor and with our interdisciplinary teams. We also have Behavior Academy and clubs. Every Friday, Behavior Academy is offered by Ms. Cartmel or myself or both, depending on how many kids have sort of been recommended for that. That's a restorative conversation and not a punitive thing. Trying to teach kids some skills on how to avoid those types of behaviors in the future. But also every other Friday, they have the option to join clubs. And teachers offer huge variety of different types of clubs. Everything from chess club to walking the hill to kindness clubs and things like that, which our kids are really look forward to clubs on Fridays. And that's offered during our advisory time. And then finally, our community care, like our teachers really work hard to identify needs of our students and beyond those academic needs. And so we work really closely with our counselor who has spent an immense amount of time this year trying to provide food, clothing, and other support to our kids and their families this year as well.
Okay. We also have all this other stuff happening that we just want to tell you about. Of course, in outdoor ed, kids are catching fish. Some of them are their first time to ever go fishing and catch fish. They're also doing things like hunter's education, boater's education. On the right side at the top, you'll see that our librarian, Miss Bollinger, has worked hard to create a PTSO again at HMS, which is wonderful. They're helping us do incentive parties and things like that benefit students, and we're grateful to have those ladies. Clubs and community on the bottom left, you'll see a picture of Mr. Taylor's Ride for Focus group, but we also have like our history club that are taking field trips. We have Builders Club with like Miss Prince and Kirk, and they're doing things like community service with kids around town, which is amazing. Our junior FFA has done things like Christmas cards to nursing home residents and lots of good clubs and community service through that. And then of course we have great instructional support with Miss Rutledge. She is in PLCs and helping teachers continue to learn and grow like all of us are. So. Okay. I had to throw this one in there, and she doesn't know this. And it is Assistant Principals Week, so for Miss Watkins and Miss Downham, we appreciate both of you so very much. And we're just excited about all the things that are happening at HMS. So do you have any questions or anything? Okay. All right, well, thanks for letting us talk about our school.
And I forgot how we did it before. Did I just read them off? Is that what we usually do that?
Yeah.
I'm just tired.
Yeah, that's
Do we approve first and then read them?
No. Oh, yeah, no, we should actually.
Is that what we did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Well,
in
thank
case
you,
we
'cause
didn't
I'm-
approve something.
Yeah, because we need to make sure we approve it before we.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to approve? the
I will make a
personnel
motion.
agenda? All right, Connie seconded it, Natalie. Made the motion. All in favor?
Okay, so for personnel, for hires, certified Ashley Fulmer, Assistant Superintendent. The classified contract list for 2026-2027 school year as presented. Resignations, we have certified Courtney Ashby, primary teacher, Sydney Harris, intermediate teacher, Caitlin Crow, primary teacher, Kaylee Holloman, pre-K teacher, and I think it's Deidre Griffith, pre-K teacher, Justin Holloman, Huntsville High School teacher, and then Bruce Dunlap as principal only at St. Paul. Classified resignations, Edie Bellinger, intermediate parapro, Melissa Hovey, high school nurse, and Amber Hendricks, special education para. And we voted and got them, right? Okay.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about our new assistant superintendent?
Yes, she is probably, I'm surprised she's not on the phone right now, ready to go. So, Ashley, and remember, we Paula worked diligently with me on it, and so, we decided, because we're asking principals and other personnel that we need to get in the routine of people being fully certified or ready to go or about to finish that certification in Marie, before we consider even hiring them. Because it just seems like, I'm not saying anything negative about it, but it just seems like we hired a lot of people on AMPs and things that weren't truly ready to go. And in my mind, it shows that person really wants to be in that position and they've went through all that and either are about to finish their certification or have finished their certification. And so that cut down on the number of interviewees that we had, but I think Ashley, and I don't mind being transparent and just telling you, she's got some grit to her. She has been the principal at West Fork Elementary, and they went from an F under her leadership to 2 points from a B. So she's been there and done that. And, and when we were open with her about things that we see here, the positives and the negatives, she was totally for it, and I hope she doesn't mind me saying it, and I don't think Paula will either. When we hired Paula, Ashley was candidate 1B, but we hit a home run here, and I'm sure we will with Ashley, so, thank you for asking that. So.
Well, we're glad to have her. Looking forward to meeting her.
She is waiting by the phone right now, I guarantee you, waiting for me to call her, so. But she had an activity tonight, they were doing something at the elementary there, and, cause she wanted to be here, so. And we have no new business. I have the superintendent.
All right, nothing else? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Natalie made the motion, anybody want to second that? Bobby seconded it, all in favor?